Fluttershy's Giant, Part 2. The Thing, or Delta Ogama, as was its full name, shortened to Dog, was fully aware that it had fallen out of the orbit of the planet. How? It didn't know, or why, but it felt as if it was supposed to do this. But that was silly, because robots don't feel things. It scanned its optical sensors at where it was going to land, ignoring the white, hot burning its steely skin. Destination unknown, it said to itself. The voice was loud and grating, the kind of voice one would expect a 30-story robot to have. Approaching target, commencing landing procedures. It tried to raise its arm out to assist its descent, and widened its sensors in surprise as its arm broke off. Problematic. Left appendage missing, right appendage following. Its right arm broke off now, and tumbled down to the ground below. Braced for impact. It turned itself around and switched off its sensors as it readied itself for the impact of the earth below, and there it waited for the time of impact. T minus 30 seconds. It opened one sensor and saw the green of the forest canopy rushing to meet its head. Fluttershy reached her home, quivering in fear. She looked up and started backwards. The thing was missing. She gulped and glanced around nervously and saw a large colony of bats fly up from the treetops. She shivered and hoped none of her woodland friends would be disturbed by the thing. "Good night, little friends," she whispered and opened the door to see the inside of her house as if the thing had landed in here instead of out there. Fluttershy, we can explain." Sweetie Belle stammered and tapped Scootaloo and Apple Bloom on the back. Fluttershy blinked at them. They were covered from head to hoof in blue paint. "What were you doing?" "We're making a surprise for you, for being such a good foal-sitter," Apple Bloom murmured. "It's not finished though, so you can't see it." Fluttershy breathed a sigh of relief and looked at them with a smile. She giggled and covered her eyes with her elegant pink mane, opting to humor them. "Alright, I'm not looking." She heard the giggles of the girl and the shuffling of objects, accompanied by the splash of more paint. "Can I look yet?" she asked. "No!" the girls adamantly cried and giggled again. "Not yet." "Alright, I'll go upstairs then," Fluttershy said, her small voice just barely heard by the Crusaders. She felt a hoof take hers and led her to the stairs. "You wait, we'll shout when we're done, and then clean all this up. Promise," Apple Bloom said. "Okay." The foal-sitter whispered and smiled. She parted her mane in order to see where she was going as she climbed the stairs. She bit her lips and risked a quick glance behind her, spotting a beautiful piece of art. Blue paint was everywhere. The fillies were covered in it, and several of her pillows were now blue. "Aw," she thought, and turned into her room. She gazed around and smiled at the sleeping angel bunny in his basket. "I had better not disturb him, but he's so cute," she thought, and gently nuzzled him, being careful not to wake him. Fluttershy sighed contentedly and gazed out the window, out into the dark Everfree. "I hope his core is alright. Who knows how close the thing fell to her house?" She trailed off, worrying and shaking at the thought of whatever it was in the dark of the night. Dog blinked one sensor. Optical sensor damaged. One of its sensors was missing, seemingly to have fallen out as it collided with the planet's atmosphere. One of its sensors was missing, seeming to have fallen out as it collided with the planet's atmosphere. It noted its legs were missing, both its arms, its left optical sensor, part of its jaw, and various bolts and joints. along with a large dent in its forehead. Repair needed, needed, circuits right, shutting down. The light in its good lens faded as darkness took its vision, and there it waited, among the fire and flames of its landing spot, under the watchful eyes of all woodland creatures, and a certain zebra. "Fluttershy, you can come down now," Apple Bloom called upstairs. Fluttershy opened her eyes and smiled. "Oh, I must have dozed off. Coming, girls," she called down as loud as she dared, and glided down the stairs. She gasped at the thing they had made for her. 1, 2, 3, surprise! All three of them cried and danced happily around her. "Oh my," Fluttershy whispered as she looked at her gift. "It's wonderful, girls. How did you make this in such a short time?" Scootaloo flicked her mane. "Aw, it was nothing. We had been planning it for weeks, and we only added the finishing touches now." Sweetie Belle squeaked with delight. "So you really like it?" "I love it. What is it exactly?" Fluttershy smiled and tilted her head slightly at the bright blue heart-shaped thing, with glitter ribbons and pink butterflies all around it, adorned with a couple of rarities gem. "It's how much we love you as our foal-sitter, Shy," Apple Bloom explained and pointed to the gem. "These here represent, she coughed and scratched her head, turning slightly red in her cheeks as she thought of something. How solid our bond is. Yeah, that's it," she murmured and glanced at Sweetie. "Mm-hmm. And the ribbons represent the knot you form around us and keep us together," the unicorn filly said and nudged Scootaloo. Scootaloo cleared her throat and took a deep breath. "And the blue is because the blue is what color Rainbow Dash is, and it is how awesome you are," she gasped, taking a large gulp of water Apple Bloom fetched for her. Fluttershy giggled and hugged them all. "Slow down and take a breath, Scootaloo." Scootaloo panted and blushed. "Sorry, the glitter also shows how fantastically awesome you are, as well as blue. And the heart is from all of us. It's so big because that's how much we love you," Sweetie Belle piped up. The yellow Pegasus hugged them all, then realized they were all so covered in blue paint. "Now, girls, bath time, then bed, okay?" "Okay, Shy, whatever you say," Scootaloo said and fluttered off, just barely an inch off the ground. The girls trotted into the bathroom, where Fluttershy ran a nice warm bath for them. "I'll leave you free to it then. Try not to flood the place," she said and smiled. "We won't," they replied and hopped into the tub. The foal-sitter smiled as the water turned a light blue shade and gently closed the door. She trotted back downstairs and surveyed their handiwork. "Well, it's nice and big," she murmured as she trotted around it. "To Fluttershy, we love you, less than free," she read. "Who's free?" she wondered out loud and looked more carefully at the symbol. "Oh," she murmured when she realized that it was a heart on its side. "Silly me." She trotted around and propped it against the far wall, fairly out of the way, but still where she could see it. A splash and a thud from upstairs caught her attention. "Girls, everything all right?" she called up and cocked her an ear out. "Yes," the three fillies' giggling voices shouted down. Fluttershy sighed and looked out the window at the warm glow of the morning sun. Then she stopped and thought for a moment. She glanced at the clock. 4:30. "Sunrise isn't until another few hours at least," she whispered, quaking with fear. When she realized where the light was coming from, she quivered even more. "Oh my," she gasped and pressed her face up against the window. "The chickens!" She flung open the door, ready to confront whatever was shining on her poultry friends. She squealed as she saw a rather large bulb-like thing sitting just outside the door, its cracked lens flickering at her and seemed to slowly blink. Fluttershy froze up. "Hello?" she whispered to it. The bulb blinked again. Her jaw worked up and down as utter terror took hold of her. She quickly darted back inside and slammed the door, whispering softly and praying to Celestia that the thing wasn't going to eat her or hurt her in any way possible. She huddled down on her side of the door and wept quietly. "Fluttershy?" Apple Bloom's voice asked from the top of the stairs. "What's the matter? Why y'all slammed the door?" Nothing. Go back to sleep, girls." "I'm fine." Fluttershy sniffed and smiled at them, trying to hide her tears and conceal her fear as best she could. The Crusaders shrugged and quietly went back to their room. "What do you suppose it's up?" Sweetie asked. Scootaloo shrugged. "Probably just Fluttershy being Fluttershy. I'm sure she's fine." Apple Bloom wasn't convinced. "I don't know. She usually never just breaks down like that. Maybe something with one of her animals happened. Maybe she doesn't like our heart," Sweetie ventured sadly. "No, she loved it. She said so herself. She wouldn't lie to us, right?" Scootaloo defended the full sitter. Sweetie shook her head. "You're right. She wouldn't." "Apple Bloom, what are you looking at?" she asked when she noticed the Earth Pony had pressed her nose up against the window. "Look at that," she whispered and pointed to a large object slowly moving out the chicken coop. "What is it?" Scootaloo breathed. "Maybe it's an alien," Sweetie Belle said with excitement. Apple Bloom rolled her eyes. "Aliens don't exist, silly." "Then what else could it be?" Sweetie deadpanned. "A robot? Please." "How about we go find out?" Scootaloo ventured. We could go on another adventure." "Yeah! Cutie Mark Crusader, Cutie Mark Adventurers!" Apple Bloom cried and they all high-hoofed in a triangle. "But Fluttershy won't let us go. No way." The girls sat and pondered their predicament for a few minutes. "How about we wait till morning? I'm sleepy as it is." Sweetie yawned. The Earth Pony and Pegasus rolled their eyes. "Fine, but we have to wake up really early and find this thing. Deal?" Scootaloo asked. "Deal," the girls replied. They all performed their signature high hoof and crawled into their bedroom, where they drifted off to sleep almost instantly. Twilight rubbed her hooves together, anxious for the morning. "What do you think it is, Spike?" she asked, obviously meaning the falling object. "Beats me," Spike grunted. "Go to sleep, Twilight. It's 4:30 in the morning." Twilight shook her head. Who could possibly sleep at a time like this? With a strange object falling out of the sky, possibly landing in the Everfree, right on poor Fluttershy's doorstep. Well, figuratively speaking. Spike grunted again and turned over in his basket. "Sure. Well, I'm going to sleep. Try and keep the noise down, would you?" Twilight nodded absent-mindedly and began pacing around the bookshelves, looking for a book on extraterrestrial visitors. "Ah," she murmured. "Here it is. Dealing with visitors from outer space." Lucky I had this one, really. The purple unicorn grinned and took it over to her desk. Chapter 1. How to say hello to your visitor. She read and began absorbing the knowledge, as she usually did when she read one of these books. Beep, beep, beep. Dog's remaining sensor flickered on again at hearing the sound of its repairs beginning. Beep. Repairs commencing. Beep, beep. Strange sounds from its mouth I hear. How very queer. Sakura murmured as she watched the strange thing, as even stranger parts came out of the trees and attached themselves to the bulk of the creature. She decided she would have to warn her pony friends when she saw them in the morning. She thought they would surely try and investigate the strange things. If they saw it, that is. Especially the Kiyama Crusader. I hope they are well. Apple Bloom, Scootaloo, and Sweetie Belle. I would not wish them to come here when this thing of fear is so near, the zebra murmured as she made her way to her hut.